What up, homies of the interwebs? This is lugnuts.guapo coming at you from Longhorn Harley-Davidson, and today we are test riding a 2019 and a 2017 Heritage, and had a couple of technical difficulties with the GoPros, but hey, I made it work, and yeah, lots of differences between the two, so we'll get on the highway, and here we go. Roll the tape!
Retro.
Welcome to the 2017 Heritage SOFTAIL, or Heritage SOFTAIL as my American brethren would call it. This is the old SOFTAIL frame, man. And before we get into it, let me say very clearly, this is not my preferred motorcycle. As a matter of fact, I dislike this motorcycle, and not dislike it in the way that you may think. It really is just, I think it looks hideous. It looks old. It makes me feel old. Tassels, like all this stuff. This bike screams old Harley-Davidson. It just does. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints about this bike. I think this bike is fantastic, and I'll get to that once we get to the highway. But also, I need to mention is that there is a ton of Heritage SOFTAILs out there. It was a very popular model. I think it still is, just not as much as it used to be. They all come in waves, but Twin Cam 103. This is bare bone stock, 450 miles, something like that. This is, I mean, we're doing about 55 right now, very comfortably. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm really, truly enjoying myself right now. Very much so. And the thing about it is the reason I'm enjoying myself so much is why I love this bike so much. Or, love is too strong because I can't get over the look. But the reason I enjoy this motorcycle as much as I do is very easily because it is incredibly comfortable. I mean, it's so comfortable. And it has to do with the seating position, obviously the ergonomics, the seat itself, the passenger pillion, I'll explain that in a second, and the floorboards are where my feet sit right on those floorboards. It is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, alright, let's start with the ergonomics. I'm about 6 foot, by the way. These mini apes, the way where the floorboards are, everything as a whole works for someone my size, about 6 foot. If you're around my size, which I feel like I'm the average size, I might be wrong on that, but it's just a good seating position, one that you can be comfortable with on a long distance trip. So, number two, we'd be thinking about the seat. The seat itself, it is just straight out comfortable. Incredibly comfortable. It caresses your butt cheeks just nicely. There's really not much to complain about. this Heritage when it comes to the seat. It is just comfortable. Now, the pillion seat, or the passenger seat, however you want to call it, is basically your lower back support. At least that's what I use it for. That's what when I think Heritage, I think of that pillion, because of how it just helps with my lower back. So when you're on a long trip, you can like slouch back a little bit, lean into it, and you'll be comfortable for hours on end. It is just a good thing to have if you can get over what it looks like, because it is big and bulky. Not the biggest fan of it as it looks. Again, the whole bike, not a big fan of what it looks like, but comfort wise, it's really hard to beat. This is really hard to beat. Not to mention that these floating floorboards, which is pretty much stock on most Harleys that have floorboards. As a matter of fact, as I think about it, all of the Harleys that have floorboards are comfortable. They're free floating or just floating floorboards. I forget what they call them. Very comfortable. Absolutely 100% comfortable. Like, it just isolates some of that vibration, and it is just a good thing to have. Now, the downfall of floorboards on this old SOFTAIL frame is that you can very easily tear them up. And tear them up is really just like kind of slowly grind them down, because this bike sits so low, and pretty much every other bike that has this frame sits low. And if it has floorboards, you're gonna scrape them up, because the turning radius is very much affected by how low this bike sits. Now, on the upside, I think all the old SOFTAILs look amazing because of how low they sit. It just, I mean, it goes with the look. Can't complain about that. So, the other thing that I think is so amazing about this bike is that it came standard, at least later on it did. It comes standard with this right here. And what is that? It is cruise control, baby! You push it in, little orange light right there, and then you push down on it, and you have set your cruise control. And you can just, you know, cross your arms, take a nap. I'm just kidding, don't take a nap. That's stupid. Why would you do that? Don't do that to yourself. Anywho, let's get out of this situation here. This is a comfortable bike, man. If you can get over I mean, if you're a hipster and you like old vintage stuff, well, this is perfect. And you can probably get a really good deal on one of these, because there are so many of them. They're such a popular bike for a long period of time. And there was a lot of rental bikes out there that were Heritages, because it was a good in-between. It wasn't a big touring bike, and it was just comfortable. It's just comfortable. There's nothing else to say. It is a comfortable bike. If you don't have the budget for a touring bike, and like traveling and cruising is what you want to do, this is the bike for you. I mean, it has bags, it has a windshield, has the right size bars, and it has cruise control. What else could you possibly need to travel? I mean, maybe a luggage rack. If you're going to the passenger, that sissy bar and backrest, I mean, the size of that backrest is, I mean, it's huge. Again, big and bulky. Doesn't look that great, but I'm pretty sure, and I know this because my wife told me, that backrest is comfortable. So overall, this is a great motorcycle. It really is. If the looks is not a deal breaker for you, you're not having to think too hard about it. This is a good motorcycle to have. It just is. And they're plentiful, so you can find them just about anywhere. This is the only thing that bothers me, and that's because this motorcycle does not belong to me. I'm always like cautious around corners, just because I ride somewhat aggressively around corners. I just enjoy that, and I know that I'm gonna scrape the floorboards. And so I want whoever decides to own this motorcycle to be happy with this motorcycle and not have any marks left by myself. So let's see, come on, get it on. All right, anywho, yeah, so low center of gravity is what this bike is. It's just basically, you sit, it's so easy to move around a parking lot very slowly, much like what you would see in a police rodeo. If you're not familiar with that, you should look it up. It's pretty rad what those guys do. But yeah, low center of gravity just helps with control. If you have that much control and be comfortable at the same time, I say that is a fantastic combination. And this bike makes you feel like you're in control. And it's very comfortable, as I stated earlier. So, anywho, let's move on to the 2019 Heritage, shall we? Whoop! And just like that, we're on the 2018, Holmes. Woo! I'm telling you, as much praise as I was giving the 2017 for how like the low center of gravity helps you feel like you're in control, this feels just as controllable and maneuverable, if not more, than the 2017. And I will say, I do like this bike and looks just a little better than the 2017. Still not a fan. At least it doesn't have tassels, right? I just can't stand them. Oh, this bike doesn't make me feel as old, but I still I can't get over the look. I just can't. I don't like it. Just no, look just doesn't do it for me. It even has the same like stamp on the clamp you see on the older Heritage. One thing that I do like, I will start with the things that I love over the 2017 on this bike is, first of all, saddlebags. Yeah, saddlebags are amazing. They're hard bags as opposed to soft leather bags, and it's a one button bag. You push the button, flip it open, and that is that. So much better. I just don't like the soft leather bags. I don't like the belt buckles on them. It's like, imagine this. You get up in the morning, put your pants on, and you put 2 belt buckles on. 2 belts, so you put them on, 2 belts, then you go to the bathroom, take 2 of them off, put them back on, and then you go to bed, and then have to take both of them off. It's like if you use bags a lot, that is extremely irritating. It gets old real quick. Now, Milwaukee 8, it is one of my favorite things about this motorcycle, and the frame is amazing. How rigid it is, how you feel so in control. Now, I will point out something. This is a lighter bike by about, what, 30 pounds is what they claim. And for some reason, it feels a lot lighter than that. And I definitely feel the effects of the wind a little bit more on this bike than I do on the older Heritage. And I think that has to do with this bike sitting higher in a higher center of gravity is what it feels like. I don't know that for a fact, that's just what it feels like. And that's really bugging me. I definitely like the 17 over this in that aspect. That's just me. Oh, traffic. Oh, traffic. Why? Thank you. You're so kind, letting me in. Alright, good thing I'm not going to be on here for a long time. But what's another thing that I really like about this? Besides the frame, motor, this also has cruise control, so they both have it. So this is not a plus for this bike. It's just nice to have. And I do like the kind of like dual glide. Ooh, I was like hoping that noise that wasn't this bike. It was the semi is dragging. Anywho, I forgot where I was. Oh yeah, so frame, motor, and other than that, personally, don't have much of don't feel like this has that much of an advantage over the previous one. Oh, and I guess the bags, yeah. So there's 3 things in my mind that justifies getting this over the old Heritage. One thing about this bike that I don't like is that on the 17 I had the passenger pillion, as hideous as that thing is. It had the edge. I could lean into it and just kind of like, relax. You don't have this with this. They tried to make it sleeker looking, which they did. I mean, I think they did that successfully. Unfortunately, unfortunately, it took away that comfort aspect for me. Again, I'm about 6 foot, and I don't know why that has anything to do with anywho, it's just not as comfortable. If you're going on a longer distance ride, not having something to lean onto that's already there, that you don't have to put anything there. You don't need to put like a backrest or, you know, a backpack with a sissy bar. That to me kind of kills it for me. That to me, that was a huge plus because every time I think of Heritage, the old Heritage, I think of that passenger pillow and how comfortable it makes me feel because I can just lean into it. Not the case with this bike. Just not the case. So the passenger seat is actually not bad. It is comfortable, and this seat for the rider, in fact, is very comfortable. I mean, very, very, very comfortable. Really don't have much complaints about it, other than it feels like I'm kind of sitting on the bike as opposed to in the bike. Again, I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. It does make sense to me. And when I hit the throttle, I do feel like I kind of slide backwards a little bit. The seat doesn't hold me in as nicely as the older model did. But again, the way that this handles maneuvers on highway, this is very, very comfortable. It really is. I don't have many bad things to say about this bike, other than I don't like the looks of it, and it feels a little, it feels almost too light for me. I like it to feel heavy, and like it just, I don't know, it makes me feel like there's more weight to the bike. Having more weight to the bike feels equals like comfort and a little bit more control and stability on the highway. That's, in my mind, that's how it works. I might be wrong, and if you don't agree with me, go ahead and comment below and let me know that you don't agree. and it is a fantastic motorcycle. It does look better. You got the LED headlamps stock. The saddlebags are, I mean, so far superior from the soft leather bags. And I mean, the seat, it is very comfortable. I just wish I had that passenger pillow to kind of hold me in a little better. Cruise control is stock on both, and other than that, you get the Milwaukee 8 versus the twin cam, which the Milwaukee 8 is so far superior. So much more power, so much more torque, way smoother. It really is. The power band is so smooth. It's just a good bike, and that new SOFTAIL frame is just amazing if you want to be very aggressive with a motorcycle, and it gives you a lot more clearance. That's one thing that I mentioned with the other bike. The clearance is just not there. It really isn't. I'm not afraid of scraping the floorboards with this Heritage. So I mean, take it as it is. Take it with a grain of salt. I am no expert. However, I have ridden a ton of Harleys and a ton of motorcycles from other brands, whether if it's a sport bike or a Rebel 250 or, you know, whatever. I've test ridden a lot of bikes, and that's kind of like my background. I get to test ride all the trade-ins that come in at Longhorn Harley-Davidson because I am curious and I want to know, how does this compare to the product that I enjoy so much personally? So there you have it. If you like what you see and you like motorcycle content and motorcycle reviews, more specifically Harley-Davidson motorcycle reviews, go ahead and subscribe right now. So mash that button and like, comment, do all that jazz. It helps immensely. And thank you for everybody that's been supporting us from the very beginning. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. And if you don't already, go to Instagram and follow us on Longhorn_HD. And on Facebook at Longhorn Harley-Davidson. And of course, if you haven't heard our podcast yet, go ahead and go and look at that. That is at soundcloud.com/MLHD or ML-HD. And then on iTunes, if you have an iPhone, just look us up on the podcast app as MLHD, one word, and we'll be right there. So I'm about to upload all the previous episodes that we couldn't keep in the beginning. We'll put them back on there so you can listen to our techs like JT and Billy, and I mean everybody that I've interviewed here. It's been awesome. It's been a fantastic experience. Obviously the audio gets better as it progresses because we've been updating. It's been doing well, and we thank you guys. You have been amazing. So anywho, if you want to test ride one of these two Heritages, call us here at 972-988-1903. Schedule a test ride, make it yours, and get some wind therapy. Later. Doodle-doo.